This could be one of the most unprecedented podcasts in the modern era.
Talk me through it.
Well, there was unprecedented rain last week, but this week I have brought to the table an unprecedented tip.
Big roughie.
Huge roughie, triple figures.
Yeah.
3 of them.
Gee whiz, that is as rough as it gets, rough as guts. It's a shame that it was washed out on the weekend because I reckon I was tipping all 5 Group 1s.
Oh, same. I was tipping the card.
Yeah.
Don't know about you. But,
Such a shame.
Yeah, oh well. Take 2, Golden Slipper weekend. So, look, made it a little bit harder. Some of the fields changing, barrier draws, but more or less, I think this will be a fairly quick episode, I reckon.
I think so too, mate. What do you reckon? Soft 7, heavy 8?
Yes, but I just got a message from our man on the ground, she-boss, Sam Sheehan, said it's raining down there at the moment. So,
gee whiz.
Yeah. Had a look on the radar. There's something way out west in New South Wales that could come onto Rosehill, and it hasn't been really hot days. I think it was a hot day yesterday, but not too hot at all. So I reckon heavy 8, heavy 9. That's what I've done the form on.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get cracking into it. Again, we're gonna give the we're gonna put the horses to follow on the bench for another week, but I'm doing the polos this week. So crack through it. Navy has to go to Pikey. I wanted to pick something else, but he was just too good. 5 winners over Friday, Saturday, and 4 winners at Mornington, including the Group 1 on Friday night.
Yeah, unreal. Unreal weekend for Pikey. And now he's headed back west.
I know.
See you, mate.
No,
bye.
He's just taken the prize money and left. Love to see it. So, yeah, genuine Navy performance there by William. The Black Polo, this is what I reckon is going to take the time here. So, Nickerjack Cave, remember that horse?
I do.
So, it's nommed in Sydney. Did you hear the reason why it's racing in Sydney this weekend?
No.
So, Peter Moody has bought a share of this horse and he trains it with a group of mates. This horse beat Twilight Payment, the Melbourne Cup winner, by 2 lengths last prep.
Yeah, right.
They wanted to take it to the Melbourne Cup, but it didn't get in. It was too far down the order of entry, so they just put it away for the spring, bringing it back. It was past fit to run in Victoria, but now the Victorian vets and the stewards have deemed it unsuitable to race in Victoria. So now it exclusively, for at least the near future, has to race in Sydney.
Ooh, that doesn't sound right to me. Do you know what's funny? I was actually looking at futures prices for the Melbourne Cup this week, just out of interest, and that's where I remember the name from. It's in futures, yeah.
So Peter Moody was the first one to admit that it looked, when he saw this thing come over and he saw it in person walk for the first time, he's like, there's something wrong with this thing. But then he looked at the tapes, got the info from the trainers, and it's just the gait of the horse. And some of them, it's like humans, mate. Some of us just have weird walking actions.
Yeah.
So, look, I understand why, especially with an international, why Racing Victoria is so preservative? Conservative. Wrong one. Preservative. Hope there's no preservatives in the old fella. But yeah, conservative with him. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, and there is a bit of a history there of things like that happening, but it's more so interstate horses not being passed to run when they've moved up or down the border, and it seemed a bit dubious. And this is what we were talking about on the weekend, the need for almost like a universal or a national app or something like that where trainers, vets and the likes of can look at footage of horses.
It's in their best interest to put that information out there so when they are racing in interstate or overseas or wherever it is, that vision is available. And if it all matches, then it's play on. But if they are lame, by all means, scratch them. So, yeah, I found that very interesting. Peter Moody says there's nothing wrong with the horse.
One to keep an eye on, mate.
Yeah, huge thing to keep an eye on. Okay, purple. Now, this is the first thing on this podcast other than Hugh Bowman to get 2 purple polos on this podcast, and that is back-to-back Human Nature. Human Nature?
What have they ever done wrong to you? Aren't a fan of their Motown album, obviously. Were you listening to it during the week?
Genuine Freudian slip, that. Mother Nature.
Yeah, Mother Nature back-to-back deserves the purple.
Oh, gee, yeah. What a speed bump that was. Yeah, look, I think, yeah, obviously it was terrible for us. We were up at Noosa, one of the great venues, and you know what? It dampened our spirits a bit, but it didn't curb our enthusiasm that much.
Oh, look, the entire venue was rocking when we were screaming home Ginger Jones.
Oh, Ginger Jones was the other one.
Don't dream it's over.
Yeah, and then we started singing, and everyone was
getting around us.
It was fantastic.
The Polo Punt Club in full flight.
Yeah. So, you know, and thoughts out there to all of the people in New South Wales that are doing it really tough with the floods. But, yeah, fingers crossed. The sun comes out and we're playing on, you know, with sunny skies soon. So, okay, on to the Group 1s again, mate. So, look, not much has changed, but some things have changed. And one of the changes for the better this weekend is the Ramvet.
100%, a lot better. It was 5 horses last week.
Prince Farwaz at 200 to 1's been scratched from it, or he's no longer accepted. So there's 8 horses in there now, isn't there? So
there is 9.
9 of them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, no, well done. So, yeah, 5 way better inclusions. You have Colette, Miami Bound, Cliffs of Moa, which is a meme, and then you have Sir Dragonet, which adds interest, and Angel of Truth. So, before we get into the actual, I think there's 3 key winning chances of this race, but Cliffs of Moa at 500 to 1. You don't see that often.
You don't see that very often. And last time we saw that in a Group 1,
it was 300, so it was half the price.
All right, then we're getting better value for Cliffs.
It can't.
$2.50 each way?
No way.
For a laugh?
Oh, nah.
Mate, 2 runs on a heavy, 1 first, 1 third.
Yeah, in benchmark 64 in a Class 1.
At least it got through it.
It could be a genuine Stephen Bradbury situation.
Yeah, really could.
Yeah. But, okay. Enough of that horse. But surely a Dabe, very elegant. And, of course, you have to include Colette on the heavy track.
Have to.
Yeah. They're the 3 clear standouts. I've still got a Dabe and very elegant on top.
Same.
And last week, I'm going to contradict myself because I said Very Elegant drew perfectly in barrier 5 or barrier 4, whatever it was. I can't even remember now. But I think she does need to draw on the outside, but she drew on barrier 1 here, which I'm not too enthused about. But you know what? Winners win, mate.
Winners win, and if there's any jockey who can steer her to get into a better position, it's J-Mac.
I'm gonna back in that he does, and I've got her on top again. I'm just trying to not overthink the race. I think Adabe will run at a cracking race, and then Colette will be thereabouts as well.
Yeah, I think this is a chance for Colette to really assert herself. If she wins this race, you'd have to say the best heavy track horse in the country.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm sticking with Adabe, who I went with last week. I don't see any reason to jump off him. I still think he gets an early lead. And an easy lead, and we'll be able to dictate pace from the outset. But no knock on my girl, Very Elegant. I think she could win as well, and I'd be happy to see her win.
Yep. So, if you like Colette in this race and you think she's a winning chance, you have to have a bet on her on the Queen Elizabeth, because I'm looking at $12 on my screen right now.
Oh yeah, if you're backing her in this race, chuck a futures on.
Yeah,
right now.
Like
now.
Like, it just makes no sense not to. But yeah, definitely do that, punters. Okay, 1 out of the way. Rosehill Guineas time. So you got a few new faces in this field now. So you have The main one being Grand Slam, and he's going to inject a lot of speed into the race. And he won very impressively over the 2,000 metres on a pretty savage bias at the Valley at the time on a good 3. Put 6 lengths on Young Werther, which, good win. And the 3-year-olds have been pretty bang average, let's be honest.
They have.
But I can't get away from the same 3 that I found in the market last week.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate, on the same 3. The more I thought about this race throughout the week, the more confused I got and trying to pick a winner. I look at Lions Raw, who I liked last week, and I'm still with him, but I'm looking through his form, and, last week I said, he gets through a heavy track, which he does, but in Wagga, in his very first race. Since then, he's won on good 3, good 4, another good 4, and second in the Spring Championship Stakes on a good 4. He's only run since his debut was on a soft. He's only run since his debut that's on a soft was first up this prep, and he ran 5th out of 9. So look, does he really get through the wet tracks? So that's actually a query for mine. But I still think he might end up being the best horse out of all these. But I'm a little bit more timid backing him now, especially when I compare that to, I'm guessing you're on Toppy Montefilia.
Well, I switched.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so it's a genuine 50-50. And to be honest, a lot of the reason why I flipped was the price. I saw the prices, and usually I don't do that, but I saw $8 for Lions Raw, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's purely on the barrier draw, and the barrier draw for Mo'unga, which looks very nice. But I reckon the horses inside Mo'unga they'll know that he's there, and they won't let him get in if they have anything to do with it. So I think that is still, like, you have Mark Zara inside him, Timmy Clark, those boys are going to make it pretty tough for him to get in and get a position. So I wouldn't be surprised if he would be 3 wide, which, Lions Raw, from that barrier, he has to be as well. But I'd be filthy if I didn't tip him anyone.
Fair, mate. Fair. Mate, look, and by race 5, I think the inside way of going, the first sort of 2 or 3, 4 barriers is not where you want to play. I think it'll be pretty choppy.
It's a good shout.
Yeah.
I have heard that if there's no rain on the day, which there isn't any forecast, apparently it holds pretty well, but it's where it gets really gluey and cluggy and all that sort of stuff is when it does rain throughout the day. So that's just something to note as well. Montefilia, she's drifted in the market as well, and I'm not really too sure why. So you're getting $750 for both Lions Raw and Montefilia. I'll 100% be playing between those two on the day. Montefilia is the proven, if you've got queries about Lions Raw on a heavy track, then Montefilia has the best wet track form in this race.
Interestingly, I saw that Ophelia hasn't won the Guineas for a really long time, but in the same token, trainers often choose not to take them to the Guineas. So
well, she's the only one here, and the David Payne was also saying that if she wins this, she goes on to the Derby, but if she loses, she goes on to the Oaks.
Okay, fair enough.
So if she wins, she's going on to the harder task of taking on the boys again. So I think she'll run a cracking race regardless. But yeah, I've got Lions Raw on top, Montefilia running second, and I've got Mo'unga still. I don't know. He has to do it for me. He actually has to win.
Yeah. Oh, look, I'm standing firm with Lions Raw. Look, I think that lead-up race was super impressive. I think he'll get out on the pace. He'll sit really nicely. Should be able to find a really good spot. Johnny O'Shea was talking about getting him into the Queen Elizabeth because he's like, throwing something else with a bit of a different form line.
He was going to win it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Who knows? This is a tough race. I'll have Lions Raw on top, though. I think Monty's a good shout in second. And going to take on Mo'unga, and I'm going to chuck Skylab in third place.
Oh, yeah. on your dollab. Onto the George Ryder. This got way more difficult, and I'm glad it wasn't last week, to be honest, because look, I've got Funstar on top again.
It was the stinky stakes last week, and it still is.
Yeah.
It still stinks.
Yeah, but I've got Funstar on top again, but you have Mizzy coming into the race. She's in cracking form. You have Cascadian, lol, who's drawn perfectly. And you got Star of the Seas as well. They're three pretty damn good ins.
Oh, mate, this was a genuine jigsaw Rubik's Cube type race for me.
Yes.
Yeah. I think in this race, I want to go with something with 59 kegs on its back as opposed to something with 57 kegs on its back. So I'd rather be with a bloke than a Sheila in this race, I think. Look, I think I'm going to stick with my on toppy from last week, Juniper. Should be rock hard first up. Mara and Eustace tend to have him going pretty well first up. He's won over 1,500 metres before. The heavy track won't be an issue. Draws barrier 3, so I think from there, Johnny Allen should be able to get him in a pretty good position, maybe sort of midfield. Johnny Allen's only got 2 rides. He's come up from Melbourne. I think he usually rides Juniper from memory.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's probably why. Yeah, so I think Juniper is still a really good shout in this. And I actually went through the history of the race and looked at previous winners. And obviously you've got the mighty mare Winks, who won it about 1,000 times at really short odds. Apart from that, a lot of it's been juicy. Like I'm talking 10 to 20s.
Yeah.
So I think punters, if you want to play in this race, play in your exotics because I think you'll find some value.
Yeah. No, well, it's $4 the field. So Quinellas will pay, at least 10 to 1. And you got Big A, Big Villiers, still favourite.
Don't know.
For a horse that hasn't won in 77 weeks, it's not guaranteed to be a heavy 10. I'm happy to take him on.
Same.
Yeah, Funstar with an improving track, hopefully. For what I outlined last time, third up here, she ran the race of her life behind Probabile in the Epsom. She looks really well placed. I looked through her form as well. Whenever she draws in, she's raced better as well. So I think that's a big tick for her. She's drawn a little bit sticky previously. So I've got her on top. I've chucked Gem Song in for second.
Eek, man, really?
Yeah. I think he's just come back a really good horse after his over a year off. Beat Bottega, who I have a massive opinion of in the Newcastle Newmarket. And he beat Cascadian on his day as a proven Group 1 performer. So I think he can run a nice race for me. And I kept Juniper in for third.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, man, yeah, this is a really tough race. I've got Juniper on top. I do think Funstar is the danger. Profile reads the obvious for this race, I think. I think Funstar is a great shout in this race.
It's D-Day for her, though. She needs to do it.
She needs to win this.
Yep.
Otherwise, yeah, I couldn't see myself ever backing her again. I've got Star of the Seas running into third. He doesn't run a bad race. If it's a heavy track,
loves him.
I think he'll go well. For mine, though, I think It Over as well is not a bad shout. If it gets to a soft 6, soft 7, I think It Over at $40 isn't a bad shout. Just some juicy value for you there, punters.
I like it. Okay. On to the Golden Slipper. So this shouldn't change too much. Has anything changed?
No, not for mine, man. No, not for mine. I've got the same thoughts as I did last week.
So we'll just do a quick recap on what our thoughts were last week. So I think I gave the point that I watched the last 10 slippers and 9 of those 10 were on the speed in the first 6 runners and then went on to win the race.
Yep.
I think that's even heightened even more on a heavy track. But one of my on-speed runners, President's been scratched.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, this is a bit of a kick in the nuts for Hutch.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So, but I'm going to stick with stay inside. I think the cut in the ground suits him to a T. I've just bumped, who was it? Home Affairs. Yep, thank you. Home Affairs into second. And I've chucked Artorias in for third. Now, there might be something flashing home, and I think he could be the best out of the lot of them long term. And you can't say that for a Blue Diamond winner that often, but that Blue Diamond win was the best I've seen of a 2-year-old in a very long time.
Yeah, and it's been franked twofold. Animo and Arcaded both going on to win.
So, and I think the stable said the wet track shouldn't be too much of a concern. Obviously not too wet because nothing gets through it.
Yeah, he could blitz him. He really could. This is a really open edition of the slipper, which I like. I'm staying strong with the unbeaten filly, 4 moves ahead. Great silks. Big fan of Nash. Big fan of Johnny Sargent. I said on the pod last week, I was really impressed with her win in the Sweet Embrace. Showed a lot of ticker. I think that win is probably one of those ones where you look at the race and you're like, oh yeah, she held on, she fought. That was a pretty decent win. I think it shows a lot more, that there's a lot more under the skin than what that race actually showed.
Ticker.
I think she'll sit really nicely from barrier 10, just off pace behind Profiteer, and just prove too strong in the end. Really like Home Affairs in this. Got a good futures price for him. J-Mac on the back. Big tick. And I like Animo as well. I think Animo's got a bit of class about him. Come charging home. He'll need a lot of luck, but Rachel King on a wet track. She'll know how to ride him.
Tick, tick. Klishnikov and Rocket Tiger, best roughies for mine at upwards of 50 to 1. So, keen to see how they are. They might be size horses.
Yeah, good shout. Roughies for mine, if we're talking about it. I like Swift Witness and Mallory.
Oh, Swift Witness, mate. Ooh, juicy. Okay, the Galaxy. Now, I think this is another race that has benefited from it going back a week. So more with the reshuffling of the barrier draw. Just found that really interesting. Biggest losers probably Jungle Edge. Poor fella. Mate, he had his goggles on, his flippers on, and he was ready to rock and roll last week. And unfortunately, he got scratched for the second time. But for the second time in about a month that he's been scratched from a wet track. So he just can't catch a break. But because Nature Strip was entered into the nominations for this race, all of the horses except the horses on the minimum, which are Talia, Wild Ruler, and the Odyssey, all go down a kilo in the weights. So Talia's got to be pretty damn good to beat him, but she's also on the minimum. So she's still getting weight off, 6 kilos off Eduardo, the top weight. But, how do you see this one unfolding?
Oh, mate, not too differently to how I saw it last week. I really liked Talia in this. I was slightly annoyed to see Eduardo was 57 kegs, not 58 kegs. James Cummins came out during the week and was like, I don't think she'll be treated so nicely at the weights this time next year in Group 1 weight races, which sounds to me like he really rates this mare. Like you've said before, mate, mare's in winning form, just keep on winning. So she's drawn nicely, barrier 6. She'll be right on pace. Rachel King will steer into a good spot. Yeah, I think the 51 kegs on the back will be enough to get her home. I do really like her. I think she's a cracking bet in this race.
I've been lured into her as well. The more I thought about it, I think she's probably a better bet to get through the ground than any other horse. And with that lightweight, I think that's going to tell a lot as well. Rachel King in the wet, big tick, so many ticks. Got Eduardo in for second, so I basically just switched them around. I've chucked Hawkbury on her in here. So 54 kilos, she won't know herself. She was pretty impressive first up, winning on a pretty hot speed. She didn't beat much that day, but she was pretty competitive in the Everest. That's some of the best sprinting form going round. And then she was only half a length away from Geitra in the Yes a week or two later on a heavy 9, so on Derby Day. So yeah, I think she's in the game as well.
Yeah, mate, not a bad shout at all. For mine, Talia on top, Eduardo second, same as you. I've got Wild Ruler running into third. I think he's come back a few lengths better than last prep. Query for mine is the heavy track. He is by Snitzel though, so they tend to get through it, mate.
They tend to love it.
They tend to love it. We can name a few right now. Red Zell,
yes, and others.
Russian Revolution.
I think he's by him.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
Let's actually fact check that real
Russian
quick.
Revolution. Horse. Not entirely sure.
He's by Snitzel. Let's go.
See, I thought he was.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, okay, brilliant. Okay. I think that's the Group 1's done in record time. So, here we go. This is what we've teased at the start. Unprecedented. Unprecedented rain last week and unprecedented tips this week.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I want you to go to the last race of the day for me.
Race 9. It's loaded up.
Yeah. Now, last week, I think it was the third or fourth race I picked. I had number 9 in, Attention Run. And just by pure coincidence, I've found this horse, number 9, Allison of Tuffy, at $126. Look who it beat last start.
Gee whiz, it beat Crone.
A Group 1 winner.
A Group 1 winner.
I'm speechless that it's $126.
Oh, well, if you ask RaceNet, they say first up after 15-week break and has the benefit of a Randwick trial. Ran 8th at Warwick Farm when last first up. This looks too strong. They don't know what they're talking about.
No, they don't.
Screw it. Let's stop using RaceNet. Let's go to punters.
Yeah.
They got no clue.
None. So, and you know what else I did? I did some digging just to try and help my long bow get home here. Last year, the first 4 paid $60,000 in this race. And I think it was about a $16 pop one. So roughies can get up in this race. Look, let me tell you a story. Other than Chrome winning this, had a look through this horse's profile. Should sit on speed. Drawn barrier 4. Should sit behind the leaders. 2 out. Getting the gun run. This is how I'm seeing it anyway.
Yep.
How I'm dreaming about it. On a heavy track, it's 0 from 2. But if you dig a bit deeper there, it was only 2 lengths away from Fasika. Now, that horse was on track for an Everest last time I heard, last prep.
Yeah.
So I think that is some pretty decent form lines. Probably wants it a bit softer than heavier, I'd imagine. And look, it has won first up before, but that was years ago. It is a long bow, but into top 4, it has to go in.
Yeah, okay.
So,
mate, I can't say I've looked super closely at that race as of yet, so...
Crone is the most informed mare in Australia at the moment.
She is.
She beat it.
Yeah.
In December.
It's not too long ago, is it?
Yeah.
No, mate, that's a good shout.
Yeah.
Let's hope and pray.
I've made a good case there.
Yeah, you have, mate.
You know, might chuck 50 each way on it. Anyway, who's your roughie of the day there, mate?
Oh, it's not $126. Maybe try take away $100. Juniper.
26s.
I think it's maybe 23s now.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So, yeah, I think Juniper's a great shout in that race.
Mate, you're finding letterboxes. I'm finding phone numbers.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, my each way of the week is the same as last week. Back to the first, which that race has just got even harder as well. But I'm sticking fat with Andermatt. Drawn barrier 4, which I think is even better. Rachel King on the back again. Godolphin, Tick. Was beaten by Wild Ruler by 1.5 lengths. Beat Volpine, who went out a subsequent winner. I think that's pretty decent form. So happy to have Andermatt on top in the first.
Fair, mate. There's a few things I like at each way prices this weekend, actually. But considering how much I've talked her up, 4 moves ahead. I've got to have as my each way. I got her at 9s, but now she's about 6s and $2 for the place. So I think you'll get a run for your money.
Beauty. Are you sticking fat with Talia?
Yes.
Yep.
I really like Talia this weekend.
Okay. Well, this all up's going to pay anything. I nearly chucked Talia as my best this weekend, but you know what? The punters don't want that.
Nah,
They don't. So
certainly not.
I want you to go to race 3 on the program. Race 2 even. Race 2.
I'm there.
Okay. Looks a pretty gross race, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's not much I like here.
Yeah,
Sacramento, the favourite, $5 a field.
You have Sacramento. You have Quick Thinker, Nicky Jack Cave, who we just talked about. Collide. All those horses, they can jog on. I'm going with the Dabes travel partner, number 13, Favourite Moon.
Mate, cracking shout.
At 7-1, best bet of the day. Had a listen to Mickey Blue Eyes Felgate interviewing one of the stable hands of this runner. Just thinks it's in cracking form. So, look, first up over, 2,400 metres. I'm not too concerned about that for a European horse. They can handle that sort of thing. It is a rough bet. It is. But I'm happy to take it. They said wetter the better for this fella. And how often do we see these Europeans come over?
And just blitz.
They just towel them up.
Yeah, well, do you know what's interesting? Just looking at Favourite Moon's sire stats, all up, its progeny have had 51 starts. In the wet, 39% strike rate.
That's huge.
That is big.
Yeah.
Schnitzels is like 16 or 17%.
Yeah.
Over a lot more runs, but
yeah,
it's a nice little stat for you.
It is. Well done. I also had a look at its profile and looked at the weight it's been carrying. So it's only just turned a 4-year-old, I think, last prep. But it was carrying like 59 kilos in handicaps. But they do carry more weight over there. But when it was racing, I'm assuming against its own age, it was carrying 52, 53 kilos, and it was winning by lengths. It's got 53 here, Kieran McAvoy in the saddle. I think it's worth a cracking bet at $7.
Yeah. Mate, I saw that during the week. I think Favourite Moon is a great bet, so I'm with you there.
So this all up is going to pay about 35-1. So we might even have to have $10 on ourselves.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else to add?
Nah, mate. It was a short edition because I feel like we've been here before. We're going around in circles.
We still went half an hour.
Did we? Well, you know what? Felt like a lot of deja vu throughout this podcast, and that's fine.
Yeah. A few backflips from me, but that's okay. Alrighty, punters, all the best. Hopefully there's no more rain for the rest of the week, but all the best if you're having a punt.
Yeah, enjoy it, punters. Have fun.